So the movie starts out over kind of like a guitar sting, just kind of like, and it's black and white and it's grainy. And then you see the Brat Pack all in like Western wear because they're cowboys, right? They pull out their guns and they start shooting 80s rock while they're and their guns are going off. So we've established that they are in fact the Young Guns. So then you've got Kiefer Sutherland and the bad guy from Superman 2 riding on a wagon, and he looks across the street and he sees the bad guy from City Slickers, and he's all like, "Urgh." The bad guy from City Slickers is all like, "Urgh." All of a sudden there's a kerfuffle, and Emilio Estevez starts running out, and he's being chased by somebody who's all like, "Stop him, he did some shit." So later they're home, and Emilio Estevez walks up to KCC's Mesco, and he's all like, "So what's up with this shit? Like, why are we here? Is this like Hogwarts for the Old West or what?" And KCC's Mesco goes, "We're regulators. Regulate any stealing of his property, and we're damn good at it too. But you can't just be any geek off the street. Gotta be handy with the steel, earn your keep, if you know what I mean." Emilio Estevez, who we find out is Billy the Kid, is trying to wrangle some hogs, but the hogs are giving him a hard time. So he pulls out his pistol and he's gonna shoot the hog, and then bam, there's a knife right there in the post next to him. And he looks up, and Lou Diamond Phillips is all, "La Bamba, baby." Masco just can't let the hog thing go, and he calls Emilio Estevez, "Hog boy." And so they all start laughing, but Emilio Estevez pulls out his gun, and Charlie Sheen pulls out his gun too. Everybody pulls out their guns, and they're like, "We're the Young Guns." But Terrence Stamp's like, "What's all this chicanery?" KCC's Masco is all like, "Oh man, I was just hacking on him." "Why were you running from the law anyway, Billy boy?" "What'd you do? Rustle some horses? Kill a guy?" And Emilio Estevez looks at him at that moment, and KCC's Masco goes, "Oh, killed a guy? What'd you do that for?" And Emilio Estevez goes, "He was hacking on me." So let's just imagine there's a smash cut to a New Year's Eve celebration. Kiefer Sutherland meets a China lady, which it's okay to say because this is back then. And then the bad guy from Superman 2 runs into John Locke from Lost, and they have a conversation about how the bad guy from City Slickers and the bad guy from Superman 2 have a rivalry about their stores. So then we find out that the bad guy from City Slickers 2 owns the China lady. It's fucking crazy. And then Emilio Estevez meets a guy who's named Pat Garrett. This might be foreshadowing for the second installment of this series. So they sing Auld Lang Syne. "Should old acquaintance be forgot and never come to mind? Should old acquaintance be forgot in days of Auld Lang Syne," etc., etc. So this, they actually do a cross dissolve, and the audio from them singing Auld Lang Syne fades in with them singing it the next morning as they ride out on the prairie together. Like, goes out and he's like, "Yeah, I'm gonna ride my horse too." And then he looks back, and all these guys have come up and they've surrounded the bad guy from Superman 2, and they pull out their guns, and then it's all like, "Quick close up, quick close up, quick close up," and then boom, 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 he gets shot. But because the guys that killed the bad dude from Superman 2 were sent by the bad guy from City Slickers, and the sheriff of that town is in the bad dude from City Slickers' pocket, he doesn't do shit about it. So they go to John Locke from Lost, and he's like, "Why don't you get deputized?" And they go out and they're trying to serve their warrant on their first dude, and he's at this bar. And so Billy goes out to the outhouse ahead of him, because when he goes into the bar, he hears the guy talk about how he's got to drain the lizard. So he goes to the outhouse, and he's sitting in the outhouse pretending like he's pissing. And then when Henry Hill walks in, who's the guy he's going to get, I forgot to mention that, he says, "Yoo-hoo," and he turns around, and instead of his dick, he's got his gun out, and he shoots him. And then he puts the warrant in his mouth, and he's all like, "Oh yeah, by the way, you're under arrest." And then there's a gunfight, and they have to take off. Well, later, they come across some of the City Slickers ranch people, and they're gonna kill him. But the dude who came over from the City Slickers ranch is like, "Hey, why don't we go north?" And Emilio Estevez is like, "What was that fucking look between you and these other guys that we captured? What was that look?" And he goes, oh, I'm sorry. Sorry I ever trusted you. And he takes out his gun and he fucking shoots him in the face. And so Chavez throws his knife and hits one of them in the back. And then Kiefer Sutherland pulls out his fucking rifle and he shoots the other guy as he's trying to get away. And he's all like, God damn it, Billy. We were supposed to do this the law way. And he's like, well, fuck this shit, because I'm killing some bitches. So Charlie Sheen's like, well, where do we go now? And he's like, I guess we're going north. And Emilio Estevez is like, north is a trap, obviously. Also, it's that way, and the bastards that we gotta kill are that way. So they go back to town and they hide behind a wall and they read the newspaper about their crimes. Kiefer Sutherland sees the China lady walking out there and he runs out and he gives her some flowers. And she's like, I can't take your flowers because the dude that owns me is a real dick. And then they see the sheriff. And so Emilio Estevez is like, oh, I'm gonna go play a trick on the sheriff. And so he skips up behind the sheriff and he takes his hat off and he throws it over the sheriff's head to where it lands in front of him. And then the sheriff looks down at it and then turns around and Billy fucking shoots him in the gut. And then he stands over him and he's all like, reap the whirlwind, Brady. Reap it. So after he's killed the sheriff, they're like, legit fucked. Want to get to this place that we know is safe, but there's a big Indian tribe that lives in between there, and they are not cool with white folks. So Chavez is like, it's cool, let's do some peyote. Having made it safely through the Indian Nation, our heroes find themselves at a cabin now, where they're sitting down to a nice supper. Charlie Sheen is saying grace, and Emilio Estevez is getting impatient, and at one point goes, God damn it, Dick, it's getting cold. And they both pull out their guns, but Emilio Estevez is just a little bit quicker, because he's Billy the fucking Kid. And he goes, I could have killed you, Dick. I could have killed you, but I don't want to kill you. I want to eat. Anyway, Casey Sismasco runs in, and he's like, it's Buckshot Roberts. And Buckshot comes out, and he goes, there's a bounty on the kid here. He's worth $100. The rest of you pieces of shit are only worth 10 apiece, but, well, let's dance. And he pulls out his gun and he starts shooting. And so there's this big standoff. Buckshot Roberts, whose name I'm starting to think is Brushy Bill Roberts, but I can't fucking remember. It's been a while since I've seen that movie, goes into an outhouse. Oh. They shoot all into the outhouse, and they're like, is he dead? I don't know if he's dead. So Dick goes, hey, Billy, why don't you cross the front of that outhouse, see if he's still alive? And Billy's like, nah, Dick, you're the boss. This is your gang. So Dick goes out to kind of like peek and peer, and he can't see this, but the camera's got this close-up of this gun barrel coming out of the outhouse door. 2 shots ring out and Dick falls dead. So the guys go to a bar to lick their wounds, also because Dick's been fucking murdered. At the bar, there's this dude who's talking to this woman and bragging about how he's going to be the one that kills Billy the Kid. And he shows her the gun, and he's like, this is the gun that's going to kill Billy the Kid. So Billy walks up to him and is all like, hey, mister, you really going to kill Billy the Kid? Can I see that gun? And while the dude's back's turned hitting on the lady, Billy takes all the bullets out of his gun. Anyway, so Billy pulls out his gun and points it at the dude and starts whistling a sad ballad. The dude gets shook, pulls his gun, starts pulling the trigger, but there's nothing in it. So Billy shoots him where he stands. The bad guy from City Slickers is gonna go murder John Locke from Lost. Ride back to Lincoln and tell John Locke, the guys are coming for you. And John Locke's like, I'm sick, I can't travel. He's got the TV. But as it turns out, it doesn't matter because this was all a fucking trap. And then the army shows up with John Kinney. And Billy's all like, who's John Kinney? And Casey Sismasco is all like, he's killed more people than smallpox. And he keeps looking out the window and he's like, it's John Kinney, it's John Kinney, it's John Kinney. So anyway, these guys are trapped inside this house. They're completely surrounded with no way out. So Billy starts using his noggin and he hollers down there and says, my favorite line sequence from there. He goes, hey, Pippin, I see you got Charlie Crawford down there. And then Pippin's all, yeah, we got a whole bunch of... And then Billy pops up out of the window and fucking shoots Charlie in the head and goes, hey, Pippin, Charlie ain't with you no more, is he? While they're trapped, the army guy's like, I hear they've got women and children in there. We need to give them a chance to get out. So John Locke's wife gets to leave, and she walks up to the colonel and she slaps the shit out of him. Because, come on, dude, you're doing murder. That's not cool. And then the China lady's outside, and she runs into the house because she wants to be with Kiefer Sutherland. It's so sweet. Truly a love story for the ages. Light up the place. They set that bitch on fire. All of the guys go upstairs where the fire's not and are like, this was kind of a bad idea because the fire is going to come up here. So a couple of things to know. Dermot Mulroney's nickname is Dirty Steve. And Dirty Steve does not like Mexicans or Indians, of which Chavez is both. Blue Diamond Phillips, aka Chavez, sneak out the back when the fire gets started. And then later, Dirty Steve's looking for him. And he's like, where is that fucking Mexican? I knew I couldn't trust him, blah, 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 blah. Fire's kicking up. They start throwing shit out the window. And then they throw this big trunk out the window. And you know stuff's about to go down because slow motion. Chest opens up and Billy the Kid emerges, 2 pistols in hand. And the audio's also slowed down, so it's fucking hilarious. And he's all, Rah! And he's like shooting everybody who's out there. Chavez runs up, and he's got these horses. And he's there to save the guys. That's why he left. As he sees Masco, he gets fucking killed by John Kinney. It's like he knew. Dermot Mulroney's a fucking dead ass. So our young guns have ridden out of town, but Emilio's not fucking done. Rides back into town, and he crosses his hands and he points his pistol and he goes, reap the whirlwind. Again, because that's his catchphrase. And he shoots him right in the fucking head. And then there's a prologue, and I can't remember everything. Something about Doc, who was Kiefer Sutherland, going out east with a celestial bride, which I think is probably even more racist than calling her a Chinese. Billy the Kid, how he rode around for a while until he was eventually gunned down by Pat Garrett, because they thought that they needed to wrap it up because they didn't know they were going to make a second movie. But guess fucking what, guys? Guess fucking what? There's a Young Guns 2.